Hates it. Oh Lord,
My
I
eyes.
see you coughing it up over there. I want to
They come
know
out harsh.
your favorite metal bands from your young days of age, growing up till now.
All right, yeah, I definitely want to talk some metal, dude. I got
Let's
stair-stepping
do it.
stills. But guys, welcome to Rotten and the Freeman Show. I am Freeman, and this is Mr. Eddie Rotten. How you doing, Rotten?
Hello. I'm doing very, very good. Thank you. I'm doing so good. I'm excited to talk to you about heavy metal because it's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world.
Yeah, you know, as a DJ, I like all kinds of music. I like stuff from dubstep to metal. I like reggae. I like 80s country, like Alabama and Oak Ridge Boys type stuff. But metal, dude, it seems like it was like a stair-stepping thing for me in life. It was, you know, kind of my first thing of metal started with hair bands, and then it ended up to real heavy stuff.
Sure.
But I was curious, dude. I know you're into metal and stuff like that, real heavy music. But kind of, you know, where was your start to heavy music? You know, what was your first tier? Like mine was kind of during the hair bands, Poison, Motley Crue, Tesla, Cinderella, bands like that. I guess really before the hair days, I remember my sister and her friends we were into Duran Duran. And then it was kind of like the Def Leppard thing, Foolin', Rock of Ages, and stuff like that, which was kind of pre-metal hair bands. You know, Def Leppard and AC/DC was like late early 70s, early 80s, kind of before the hair bands were out. But what were your early days of metal music that you listened to? My first concert, dude, literally, whenever I was 6 years old, the first concert I ever went to was Quiet Riot, the Mental Health Tour.
Wow, no way. That's
dude,
cool.
I was like 6 years old, dude. Bang your head.
That's cool. Yeah.
Come on, feel the noise. Me and my cousin went. My older cousin, which was, you know, probably 18 at the time, took me from my mother's oldest sister's middle child. Mike Bowman took me to see Quiet Riot, dude. And
that is so awesome.
Maybe, I don't know. I guess that was maybe 83, 82, something like that. I was born in 75, so I was maybe 7. But Quiet Riot was my first one, sold out at Greensboro Coliseum, man.
When I was really young, I had a friend of mine. He's passed away now. His name is Tom Wilcox. And Tom was not so much a social butterfly, but he had a lot to say. He was a great friend of mine, right? His brother, Glenn Wilcox, was my younger brother's best friend growing up and stuff like that. But he used to pick me up in his Gremlin. He had a little AMC Gremlin, and we'd go out to the beach and sit there and listen to like Quiet Riot. We would listen to Slayer, really old, early on bands when they were young, like recordings of them when they first started out. And we would just sit there and try to memorize these songs, you know, and I didn't even know what they're saying because they're screaming so loud. But when I was really young, I listened to that, and it kind of moved into a time where I would listen to everything, because where I grew up, there was a big, huge difference in people. There's a whole lot of different kinds of music that was coming in. So I went through a lot of electronic music. I did listen to a lot of Duran Duran. I listened to a lot of Erasure, Depeche Mode, a lot of those kind of poppy bands back then. I never truly got into things like, you know, New Kids, although I like some of their music, but I was more of a Boys to Men fan when I was growing up, you know. But after high school, believe it or not, after high school and after having a kid, my son came to me and he said, "You got to listen to
Skrillex."
Yes, it was Skrillex.
Yeah.
And because I listened to Skrillex, it made me go back to my roots on when I first touched a guitar with a distortion pedal, and I started falling back into Deftones and falling back into some of the heavier music, and then went right over the edge into Opeth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now the reason why I have a mixed history with heavy metal and rock and roll is because I've always thought, and I might have explained to you before, that society is built on if a human voice can copy the music that they make. Have I talked to you about this before?
No.
No.
And I got an
Okay.
Opeth story also.
Okay. So I've always thought like cavemen, they try to recreate the sound of the instrument that they're playing to communicate, like, just the grunting of a voice that a drum will make, right?
Right.
And it moves on to guitars, and humans will try to recreate the sound of the guitar and stuff like that. And then it got into beatboxing, and it got into all kinds of different sorts of music. But if you look in people's geographical area, wherever they're at, like the sitar, their music, the voice tries to recreate what the sitar does, that same kind of sound. That's how they sing. But when dubstep came around, I was like, surely nobody can recreate what dubstep sounds like. But they have now with, I don't know how they do it, but in beatboxing, they can recreate what dubstep sounds like. Yes, they know how to do it. I really like Mastodon. I'm listening to a whole lot of Mastodon right now.
Yeah.
Been to a couple of their
There's always
shows.
stair steps. We went to a concert. It was Sounds of the Underground tour.
Okay.
In Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I was there to see Strapping Young Lad because I grew up playing drums. I'd wanted to see Gene Hoglan, Gene the Machine Hoglan. He was a real big guy back then. But he was like, he played for Death. He played for Testament. He's played for a lot of bands. But we were about to watch the band Gwar. Gwar was on, and then Opeth was on after that. Well, I was standing there, and Freeman Mommy was like, hey, I think that's Gene Hoglan standing right there. It looks like those airbrushed Doc Martens that he's got on that he always plays. And I went up and I was like, Mr. Hoglan, and this was before cell phones were big, so I had a disposable camera with me. And I was like, sir, could I get a photo with you? Man, I'm a huge fan. Strapping Young Lad was playing. It was Gwar, Opeth, and Strapping Young Lad, and it was like Norma Jean. I think Lamb of God was there. The Red Chord, which is a band that I love.
Lamb of God.
Yep, and they were all there. So I took a picture and I started talking to Gene. He's like, well, let's watch Gwar together. So I stood there with Gene Hoglan watching Gwar. And we talked in between the bands, and then Opeth come on, and he was like, man, this is one of my favorite bands. And he played with Opeth right after that, dude. Something happened with their drummer. He got sick. I don't know all the politics of it, but Gene Hoglan joined those guys for a while and done some recording with them. But I was sitting here talking to him about how much he liked that band, and he joined the band right after, dude. Whenever we used to go to these concerts, we at that concert, each band had a tent outside, so you could walk up to Strapping Young Lad and meet Devin Townsend or Gene Hoglan. I met the Red Chord. Gwar was out there just chilling, hanging out, waiting for their set. But each band's sold their own merch under these tents.
Yeah.
So Norma Jean was there. Of Mice and Men was there. I'm trying to think of all the bands that were there. But I stood there and talked to Gene Hoglan about that. It was a really cool experience.
That's pretty cool.
But he was a part of my stepping stool to bands. Like I said, it was kind of like Quiet Riot, and then there was Def Leppard and Quiet Riot and hair bands. And then my next step up from there was from Headbangers Ball, which I'd already kind of like Metallica. There was Metallica and Slayer. I didn't start listening to Slayer until like the South of Heaven era, right before Seasons in the Abyss come out. And then my stair-stepping from there was Sepultura, the Dead Embryonic Cells video, which took me to another level. But after that, I started liking the band Death, which Gene Hoglan ended up playing for after Sean Reinhart had left. But there's a song that was called Lack of Comprehension. If you've never heard this song, right, and this was one of the biggest stair-stepping things for me in metal to really heavy, not thrash or death metal. But it was Death, Lack of Comprehension. And the drums on that album or that song are so amazing.
Spoke to you? Yeah,
spoke to me. And then it was Morbid Angel, Deicide, Suffocation, real heavy stuff.
Isn't Death like a heavy punk band?
Death was you just got to hear him. The Chuck, which was the singer and the guitar player, ended up getting cancer and passing away. Once they started getting really big, and there's a documentary out about the band Death that you can watch about Chuck.
I think I've seen that.
And Gene Hoglan's in that. But I still got the picture that I'll show you of me and Gene Hoglan of that day. But after getting into real heavy stuff, like we would go see Deicide, and and Glenn Benton, we were able to meet him. And we would go to these clubs just where the bands would be hanging out. Like I'd go see Sepultura at the Ritz and Igor Cavalera, the drummer. I'd be like, wow, he'd just be standing in the crowd watching. So I would meet all of these heroes of mine when it come to music. But after being in the most heaviest bands, my friend brought over a CD one day, and it was Le Sexorcisto Devil Music Volume 1 by White Zombie. And that kind of toned it down for me, and I was a huge White Zombie fan for that album. After that, I didn't really care for the Astro 2000.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a fan, but Le Sexorcisto Devil Music Volume 1 is one of my top 3 albums. That, Tool, Undertow, and Rage Against the Machine, I've always said, are my top 3 rock type band albums. But is there
a heavy metal group that you just don't like? You don't like, not even so much a group, but can it go too far? Do you think screamo music or death metal has a place or not in the future?
One band I really don't care for is whenever we went to Sounds of the Underground, everybody was nice to us, but the only band that came out as rock stars that were highbrow was Lamb of God, and it kind of put a sour taste in my mouth with those guys. They were really
they were arrogant or what?
They were really arrogant, really, like when they walked out, felt like they wanted praise or whatever, but I was hanging out most of the day with a band called the Red Chord. I don't know if you've ever listened to them. The Red Chord is a fantastic band from Boston that I've met several times. But I don't know, a band that overdoes it.
A band that might not have a place in the future is just almost borderline too hard now. But think about 20 years from now. I'm pretty sure we're still going to be listening to Opeth and Megadeth and Mastodon. 20 years from now, we'll probably be listening to Twisted Sister too. So these are heritage bands that are not leaving musical history. But is there bands right now that are huge that might not survive the next 20, 30 years?
I don't know. I'm not really up, like Machine Head, and I don't know. Is there a band that you can think of? I really can't think of any,
Yes, I love originality, but there are some bands that I believe are huge right now that probably won't, kind of like, it's not a heavy band, but remember Bloodhound Gang?
Yeah.
At the time of Bloodhound Gang
Engines
was
starting. Right.
Well, that's no, that's not Bloodhound Gang. That's Butthole Surfers or something like that. No, who the hell sings that?
No, that's Pepper. I know what you're talking about, Pepper.
Yeah.
The Distance is Bloodhound Gang. I'm going the distance. I'm going for speed.
No, that's not Bloodhound Gang. Who is that? I'm gonna look it up right now. Anyways,
look it up. You're thinking of Pepper, where it says Marky got with Mark, Sharon got Sharon, and she was sharing Sharon's luggage on the topic of disease.
What does
I don't mind the sun sometimes.
That's Butthole Surfers.
Yeah, that's Butthole Surfers. But the Distance is Bloodhound Gang. I'm going the distance.
No, I think that's Butthole Surfers. Okay, I'll type it in right now. Who sings
The Distance?
The Distance. Oh my God, we're both wrong. This is so embarrassing. It's Cake. Of course. Cake sings. Cake sings that. Of course, Cake sings that. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think Mastodon has.
Oh wait! Bloodhound Gang is do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.
Yeah. So see how the band disappeared?
Cake.
So Bloodhound Gang, they were so huge, but now they're not going to survive. They'll be like some one-hit wonders, off in the future. But like Deicide is probably going to be a staple 20 years from now.
Oh yeah,
but I think that
I like Deicide's original stuff. I really like.
What about Dio? Were you a Dio fan?
I was not a Dio fan. I like Dio. I like this stuff, like Judas Priest. I saw Motorhead one time. I saw one song by Motorhead because the wife wanted some food. but
you turn the Dio logo upside down and it spells devil. You ever seen that?
No.
Yeah, it's written in calligraphy, and so if you turn the logo upside down, you can make out pretty clear it says the word
You
devil.
know, whenever it comes to Dio, I liked Merciful Fate. I like King Diamond.
Mm,
You know, and
love King
King
Diamond.
Diamond was the singer for Merciful Fate.
So a band that I think is huge right now, I don't know, has staying power in the next 20, 30 years, is called Meshuggah.
Yeah, I've seen Meshuggah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're incredible, but I don't know if they're going to stick around because there's so many other bands that sounds just like them. They don't have like, they're not like Tool. They're not like Jethro Tull that has these incredible sounds.
Evil by Merciful Fate, which is like late
Yeah.
70s. It was, you know, I think Metallica used to share band rehearsal space with Merciful Fate. That it goes back that far.
Merciful
Fate.
I'll play the song in the video. You know, I wish we could watch the video and do a reaction to it.
Oh yeah, it's good. But King Diamond, you know, Welcome
fun.
Home, Abigail, Sleepless Nights, and the clock strikes midnight. I love all that stuff. But as far as like Dio and stuff like that, I like the music. I don't know if I was a fan, but I dig the music. Rainbow.
Did you buy the album? What albums did you buy? Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne. My favorite album by them was honestly when Zakk Wylde joined, and it was Crazy Babies. Crazy Babies never say. Yeah.
Oh man, he had the hottest album covers too.
Yeah. Older Ozzy I didn't get into. Yeah, I was into Ozzy like I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, so NWA wrestling was big here. So when the Road Warriors would come out, they would play Iron Man. So that was kind of my introduction to Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and all that. Right. But a lot of that come later after the hair bands and stuff. Once I realized AC/DC and Dio and Judas Priest and all the stuff like that, it was it come later in life
Priest
for me. Once I got into metal, I fell back on the classic epic people, the pioneers of metal.
I was bouncing around too much in the 80s growing up. There's so many influences. Hip hop was so big, you know, Beastie Boys were as big as God when I was growing up, you know, and then a lot of bass was coming out.
And that's crazy. Because you got to think.
Remember Ace of Base?
Yeah. I saw the sign. Yeah.
It's good song.
But you got to think, you know, Rick Rubin still producing music with Chili Peppers, stuff like that. But he was Beastie Boys. He was Slayer. You know, Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin, Def Jam, dude.
Yeah.
Were real true pioneers.
The things that were heavy back then are like Child's Play, like Kiss. Kiss used to be unbelievably heavy to us when we were like back then. But you compare that to like Kiss to Meshuggah or a band like that of equal heaviness. It doesn't even compare
because if you listen to old Kiss, it's kind of disco, like Christine 16 and some of the older I Was Made for Loving You could have been played at Studio 54 back in the disco days. You know, so that
that's a Vegas show too. That's a Vegas show.
So they got their last show coming up. Kiss does. I've seen Kiss probably 4 times. First time I saw them, I think was Lick It Up tour back whenever we were younger, and Vinny Vincent I think was playing guitar and Eric Carr was drumming. Then I saw them the reunion tour to where they put the makeup on and it was like the legit Kiss I saw. And then I saw the backup Kiss where it was Bruce Kulick and, you know, the people that they have now in the band. But I saw Gene Simmons is heartbroken because Ace Frehley and Peter Criss denied coming to the final show and playing songs with them and said that they were done with it. I think.
Why? They don't like him?
Well, you know, they've had such drama through the years, and I guess Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley thought that the original members would come back for their final show, and in Madison Square Garden.
They need to pull together. They need to join the Illuminati like Beatles did, and keep it together. Keep it together.
So, but dude, I like all kinds of music. I like all kinds of metal. I'm not down to one. I've been listening to a lot. You know, a band that I've been listening to a lot lately is a song called Bone Breaker by Slaughter to Prevail, which is a Russian band. And I'll send you a video of them. They kind of wear masks, like these Halloween masks. And then halfway through the show, the singer will take his off. But Alex Terrible the singer is pretty awesome guy. But the energy, I get the energy from them as I did Pantera back in the day when Pantera. I saw them maybe 4 times back in the day with Dimebag and all of them. But
yes.
Slaughter to Prevail is a band that I've been listening to a lot here lately.
I like the band Ghost a lot. I like the band Ghost Note a lot. Did you listen to the Ghost Note?
I've heard Ghost. I'm on the fence about Ghost. I like some of their stuff. Some of it's too melodic. But I like it.
Yeah, I don't like what he's saying, but the music is good.
Oh yeah, the Square Hammer song.
Dude, if you tear down what Ghost is talking about, it's not as a Christian, it's not very holy, you know.
Because if you read the words, you present yourself to the devil, and it's got some pretty harsh stuff.
It's like devil worshippers from all over the world show up to his shows.
Yeah.
You know? And he'll do like half a show and take his mask off, and it's another mask underneath that mask. It's like, dude, okay, we get it. We get it. No, but Ghost Note is like a jazz fusion band. There's no singer in it, but it's just straight talent. It's so good. And in my older age, you know, before I squeeze those tennis balls onto the little walker that I have here, I don't know. I kind of just like that chill music. I would say a band like Ghost Note is equal to Tool, because you have to listen to the music and you break down time signatures and what instrument is actually playing and stuff. But it's not heavy metal
Tool,
music.
Man. I saw Tool twice in a club, this small club called the Ritz in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we saw Undertow and then the album after that, Anima. But literally like 200 people were there. And Danny Carey's drumming and just seeing all that up close was mind blowing. I love Tool, man. I love the earlier Tool stuff.
Never saw Tool.
Way better, like Undertow. The first couple albums I like way better than the stuff that they have now. The stuff now is really, really, really good. Don't get me wrong, but the whole, you know, like 46 and 2.
You don't like that?
No, I love that album. Like the first couple of albums, Opiate. I guess the first 3 albums I was a huge fan of. I love the stuff after that. The pot.
He's mixed up though,
and all those songs.
He's got Pussifer. He's got a Perfect Circle. He's got his winery. He's spreading his talent out.
Maynard's definitely the man.
He's laying seeds.
But I've been close as me to this camera right here to Maynard. When we saw him at the Ritz, dude, it was actually mind blowing. So, you know that.
Wow, I've been that close to Elvira.
That's awesome. She's hot too. Yeah, she was in the first. Did you ever watch Cheech and Chong movies?
Sure.
Her is a redhead. Yeah. Cassandra, I can't think of her name, is in the scene where the Hulk runs through the wall and up in smoke, and she's saying, "Help me, Wamba." But that's Elvira in that scene. But it's her not as Elvira. It's just her with red hair as an extra in the movie.
Cassandra Peterson, I believe. Yeah, she's my girlfriend.
But that's.
She would be my girlfriend.
Yes. I remember. Dude, I used to love those. That was where I saw Tomb of the Blind Dead. And it was these blind zombies that were real creepy. They had skull faces. I'm sure you've seen them in pictures. Maybe you put a picture up of Tomb of the Blind Dead. But the horses were zombies and everything. But Elvira used to play some scary crap on her. It was kind of like the USA Up All Night.
It's like USA Up All Night.
USA Up All Night.
With Gilbert Gottfried and what's that lady's name?
Because we were born around the same time, right? I was born in 1975.
Yeah, Rhonda something.
I used to love those.
Hi, I'm Rhonda so-and-so from USA Up All Night.
I used to love that. My parents would even stay up and watch USA All Night. Up All Night.
I was born in 1974. Back in those days. It was just magic, dude. MTV, you know, it was magic. The birth of breakdancing was coming out. You know, parachute pants. I had the Thriller jacket because it was in style. Pants,
dude. Oh, it all brings back memories. That's for another show, man. The 80s vibe. Absolutely.
Yes.
I love it.
We'll get to it. 80s vibe.
But we want to thank you guys for listening to Rotten in the Freeman Show. We just want to talk about metal for a little bit, some heavy music. Dude, I haven't really talked about heavy music in a while. Like a lot of bands I listen to now, my kids are into K-pop, and, you know, Freeman Mommy's into Pink and
Never heard it.
And all this other stuff. Smooth like butter. It's
Still haven't heard it. You told me about it once.
It's massive. My daughter and wife and son went to see Stray Kids not long ago down in Atlanta, but it was like getting Taylor Swift tickets. It was kind of that caliber, you know. And they played like a week at the stadium in Atlanta and sold out every show like instantly.
Wow.
But
well, tickets are so expensive, dude. The band has to be solid for me to even pay to go see him now. Unless it was something like at South.
Last show I saw was Rage Against the Machine, and we bought those 2 years in advance, and the COVID happened, and it was postponed. But it was definitely the concert of my life was Rage Against the Machine. But we want to thank you guys for listening to Rotten in the Freeman Show. We want to talk a little bit about metal, kind of our stair-stepping bands. Like I said, mine was hair bands, the Metallica, Slayer, Sepultura, Death, heavy music, then tone back down with White Zombie, and now it's Slaughter to Prevail. But thank you guys for watching and listening to Rotten in the Freeman Show. Please spread the word and the news about Rotten in the Freeman Show to all your friends. Please subscribe, click the bell, do all the stuff you're supposed to do on YouTube. Subscribe on the audio feeds on Spotify, and please share the love of Rotten in the Freeman Show to all your friends. Share our, add us on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere, and share our posts to your friends. We want to thank you and bravo to you guys. But on behalf of Mr. Rotten and myself, Freeman Daddy 5, we call this episode of Rotten in the Freeman Show. Out of the park. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap. Heavy metal for the win. Heavy metal for the win.